They called him the richest man who ever walked the earth. But what if I told you that his true legacy wasn't gold, but glory? Not the kind men boast of, but the kind only heaven remembers? This is the untold story of Mansa Musa, the forgotten emperor who ruled a golden kingdom at the edge of the world and changed history forever. Long before the lights of Europe burned bright, long before Columbus dreamed of oceans, there was a land in the heart of Africa that glimmered like the sun itself. Mali, a kingdom built on sand and gold, on faith and power. Its rivers flowed with life, its markets sang with the clatter of trade. Ivory, salt, slaves, and gold. And at its throne sat Mansa Musa, a man so wealthy that his name would become a legend whispered by kings. He ruled from 1312 to 1337, inheriting a realm that stretched farther than the eye could see, from the dense forests of the south to the Sahara's burning edge. His word was law, his presence divine, and his fortune beyond imagination. But who was Mansa Musa before he became the richest human in history? He was not born into greatness. Mansa Musa rose when his predecessor, Abu Bakr II, vanished into the Atlantic, chasing the mysteries of the ocean. Musa, his deputy, was left to rule. Temporarily, they said. But destiny had chosen otherwise. When Abu Bakr never returned, Musa became king. Young, wise, and deeply faithful, he ruled not with fear, but with vision. He believed his wealth was not just for himself. It was a gift from God, a test of stewardship. And under his reign, Mali flourished beyond measure. Cities like Timbuktu and Gao became centers of learning and trade, drawing scholars from Cairo, Persia, and even distant Europe. The gold of Mali began to rewrite the map of the known world. Yet Musa's story was only beginning, for his most legendary act was still to come. It began with a promise, a sacred journey to Mecca, the Hajj, a duty of faith. But when Mansa Musa set out in 1324, he didn't travel as a humble pilgrim, he traveled as a living legend. Imagine this, 60,000 men marching through the desert, each dressed in fine silk and brocade. 12,000 slaves, each carrying gold bars. 80 camels, each loaded with hundreds of pounds of gold dust. A caravan that stretched as far as the horizon, through heat, sandstorms, and silence. When Mansa Musa entered Cairo, the world stopped to watch. His generosity was overwhelming. He gave gold to the poor, to merchants, to scholars, to anyone who asked. But he gave so much that he broke the economy. Gold lost its value in Egypt for over a decade after his visit. Imagine that. One man so rich, he caused inflation across an entire continent. Cairo, Mecca, Medina. Every city he passed through would never forget him. But Mansa Musa's wealth was not wasted in vanity. When he returned home from the pilgrimage, he brought more than treasure. He brought vision. He had seen the splendor of the East, the knowledge of scholars, the majesty of architecture, and he vowed to bring that glory to Mali. He built mosques, universities, and libraries. The most famous, the Jingwereber Mosque in Timbuktu, still stands today, nearly 700 years later, as a silent echo of his reign. Under Musa's rule, Timbuktu became the beating heart of learning in Africa. Scholars copied manuscripts by hand, philosophers debated faith and science, and merchants from across the world came to its markets. Mali became not just a kingdom of gold, but a kingdom of wisdom. And yet, with all his glory, Mansa Musa remained a servant of his faith, humble before Allah, generous to the poor, and devoted to justice. But wealth, true wealth, has a strange power. It can build kingdoms, or it can break souls. Musa understood that gold could enslave as easily as it could free, so he used it carefully, channeling his riches into things that lasted: knowledge, faith, and legacy. He knew that the power of gold fades, but the power of wisdom endures. Even his enemies respected him, for he ruled not by the sword, but by the balance of mercy and might. While Europe struggled in the shadows of the Middle Ages, Mansa Musa was building an empire that glittered brighter than any crown. His story challenges every lie ever told about Africa's past, that it was poor, primitive, or forgotten. Because long before the Renaissance, long before the rise of the West, there was Mali, the golden kingdom of Mansa Musa. And yet behind the legend of gold and power, there was a man who prayed 5 times a day, who believed that everything he owned belonged first to God. The pilgrims who traveled with him said he would stop his caravan just to pray, even in the burning desert. He built schools so children could read the Quran. He fed the hungry. He clothed the poor. And when he spoke, his words carried the quiet weight of wisdom. For Musa knew that the true test of a man is not how much gold he holds, but how much good he does with it. History remembers his fortune, but heaven remembers his faith. No man, no matter how powerful, escapes time. As the years passed, Mansa Musa grew old. The empire he built stood tall, but like all kingdoms, it would one day fade. Yet when Musa died, around 1337, the world felt the loss of something greater than gold. He left behind not just wealth, but wonder. His name was written into maps, his empire drawn as a land of endless treasure. Even in Europe, cartographers painted Mali as the realm of the Golden King. But perhaps the greatest treasure he left was the idea that greatness does not come from greed. It comes from giving. Centuries passed, and the sands of time began to cover Musa's story. European empires rose, Africa was carved and conquered, and the tales of the Golden King were buried in silence. But legends have a way of surviving, whispered through generations, kept alive in stories told under the stars. And now, as history awakens again, the name Mansa Musa returns to remind us of what once was. A time when Africa ruled in gold, faith, and knowledge. His story is not just history, it's a mirror, a reflection of what humanity can be when power serves purpose, when wealth builds rather than destroys. What is wealth? Is it gold that glitters or wisdom that guides? Mansa Musa's life teaches us that riches fade, but righteousness remains. He walked the earth with treasures kings could only dream of, yet his greatest gift was faith, the belief that every fortune is a trust, not a throne. In today's world, where greed drives nations and men worship money, the story of Mansa Musa is a warning and a hope, because he showed us that you can be the richest man alive and still be humble. You can rule an empire and still serve God. His empire may have fallen, his cities may have crumbled, but the spirit of his generosity still speaks. And it says this: use what you have to make the world better, not bitter. Today, historians calculate his fortune in modern value. Over $400 billion, more than any billionaire who has ever lived. But numbers can't measure legacy. Gold cannot buy eternity. Only purpose can. From the deserts of Mali to the pages of history, Mansa Musa's light still shines, a light that refuses to be forgotten. Because even when empires fall, the memory of those who use their power for good never dies. Somewhere in the dust of Timbuktu, in the ruins of his kingdom, the echo of his footsteps still lingers. A reminder that true greatness is not in what you own, but in what you leave behind. So next time you hear about the richest man who ever lived, remember this: his wealth wasn't his story, his wisdom was. His gold glittered for a lifetime, but his generosity glows for eternity. Because in the end, Mansa Musa didn't just own gold. He became gold, purified, tested, shining in the eyes of history and heaven alike. If this story moved you, if it opened your eyes to the forgotten glory of our world, don't let it fade into silence. Hit like, share this video, and subscribe for more untold stories that time tried to erase. Because history belongs to those who remember.